Hello everybody and welcome to Barely Homesteading. Lumberjack here. And to start off with, we just want to apologize for the lack of videos for the past few months. We are still here, we are still doing the homestead. We've just had some issues that have come up, some health issues and some other things that we've had to deal with and had to focus our attention on. But we are kind of over a lot of that now, and so we are ready to get started back on the regular homesteading thing and be able to share regular videos with you again. And so this week we wanted to talk about some of the things that have been going on, some of the things that we've done over the winter, and start talking about some of the preparations that we are making for this year's growing season. So the first thing that we want to talk about is the garden. It is the beginning of April and snow is gone for the most part. There's maybe just a little bit in the shadows here and there, but for the most part winter's over, spring is here, and we are getting the garden ready to go. We have moved our rabbits. Our rabbits last year were over here. We've now moved them to this corner of the garden, and we plan on moving them every year to a different portion of the garden to give that section of the garden a chance to rest and to be able to replenish and renew that soil with all of the good rabbit fertilizer that they're producing. And so we've already done that this year. We've also started to put in the infrastructure, so let me show you around that. So we're actually going to organize the garden a little differently this year. Now that we've had one growing season under our belt, we've learned a few things. And so how we're going to organize the garden this year is we've got the one gate over here and the other gate over here, and we're going to have a main walkway between the two gates. Then we're going to have a secondary walkway right here that goes back to where we have our water spigot. On either side of this secondary walkway, we're going to have rows going this direction. So we've got our lattice up, our cattle panels, for 2 rows of peas, and we're going to have 4 more rows of vegetables over here, and on this side we're going to plant mostly corn. Now you will notice that we have these T-posts in the ground, and what those T-posts are going to do for us is, as we bring the hose to water the rows, this T-post will give us something for the hose to be able to wrap around and not kill the plants on the end of the row. And so where the T-post is right where a row is going to be, and then there'll be another row between the T-posts. We'll be able to water up and down the 2 sets of rows and then go to the next T-post and water up and down those 2 sets of rows. Now on this side of the garden, we're going to have rows going this direction, so opposite the rows on the other side. Over here we're going to be doing tomatoes and peppers. On this back side, we're going to have potatoes, and you can see the tires that we've collected to plant the potatoes in our hole with our boulder. We still have not gotten this boulder out. I'm hoping that maybe this fall I'll be able to work on this, but as I said, we've had some other things going on that have taken our time, and so the boulder has had to wait, unfortunately. And then over here, we're going to have some shorter rows, again going this opposite direction of the others, where we'll be doing cucumbers and onions and things like that. And so we're going to be utilizing almost the entire garden this year, which we're very happy for. The only section we won't be utilizing, well, the 2 sections we won't be able to utilize will be where the rabbits are, because we're going to be rejuvenating that section this year, and where the boulder is. So one of the other projects that we were working on last year was in this section, which is kind of kitty corner to the garden. We're putting in an orchard, a fruit orchard. And at the end of fall last year, I was able to get this section leveled out. I was able to get the stone retaining wall back here put in for the most part. but winter came too soon and we weren't able to get this area fenced off. And so we had to put in, because we already had some trees, we had to put in the temporary fence with some electrical fencing to keep the deer and the elk and the moose out throughout the winter, so they don't need our saplings. And now we're getting the fence put in. So here you can see we're starting to get our fencing put in. We're going to be doing the same type of fencing that we did for the garden to keep the large animals out. Because this is an orchard, we're not so worried about the smaller animals. So we won't be doing the wire mesh along the bottom. We're not going to be burying it down. Rather, what we're going to do is each of the trees, the root ball of the tree, we will put in a wire basket before we bury it to keep the smaller animals from eating all of the roots. We just need to keep the larger animals out from eating the trees. So as we work on this fence during the spring and summer time this year, we'll be doing a video on this and give you a tour of the orchard and what fruit trees we're putting in and what we have planned to do in the future. So another thing that we have done to catch everybody up is we've actually fixed our skid steer. So for those of you that have watched some previous videos, you knew that we were having some issues with the boom going up and down, and turns out that it was the safety lock solenoid had gone bad. And so we were able to fix that, and now our skid steer is working as intended, and that's been very helpful with some of the things that we've been doing this past winter. In addition, we had another problem with the skid steer where we had a fuel leak and drained all of our diesel, unfortunately, and so we had to fix that. But our skid steer is up and working and fully ready for another year's worth of work, hopefully. So one of the other projects that we've done this winter is we've actually drywalled and insulated the garage to keep it a little warmer in here. Our cats basically live in here in the winter time, and we had a problem with their water freezing last year, and so by adding the insulation and drywall, we were able to keep it warmer in here and keep that from happening, and makes it much nicer out here when I have projects to do in the garage.
One thing we've been doing to prepare for the garden is getting our seeds started. We plant as much as we can outdoor directly into the soil, but some of the warmer plants, our season is not long enough. So tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, dry beans, we try to plant those inside and then condition them to outside to the garden and plant them as seedlings. We start with the seeds in the grow box, and we have a video on the grow boxes, so we'll try to link that below. And then we transplant them as they get a little bit bigger. We transplant them into individual cups, and we reuse these every year. We've been using them for multiple years, and so some of this is our biggest crop so far. The rest of them are still seedlings, but they should be ready by the time it's warm enough to plant outside.
So another part of spring on the homestead is new births. So 3 of our mama cats have given birth so far this spring, and we've got 9 little kittens here. And we've got a 4th mama cat that looks like she's about ready to go. So we're gonna have a gaggle of kittens here on the homestead. So another new addition to the homestead is we got a second dog. This is Bandit. He's a blue heeler, and he's been a good companion for Bingo. Kind of helped keep her a little more active during the day, and hopefully maybe next year we'll be able to get some puppies from these 2. So again, we want to apologize for not being active on our posting recently. As I said at the beginning, we've had some things going on, but we are still alive, we are still homesteading, and we do plan on posting a lot more as we're getting things going this year. So look out for new videos, hopefully on a regular basis. So until then, remember to use it up, wear it out, make it do or do without. This is Lumberjack from Barely Homesteading. See you next time.